Hello everyone. Thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel, Get Crafty with Sally. Welcome. Today I am going to be showing you how I made this card, but also the technique for getting this pretty watercolor background. I am using the Courage and Faith stamp set. It's got a lot of great sentiments in these nice little floral foliage stamps. You can find this stamp set in the new annual catalog on page 93. It has been around, I think, longer than this catalog, but I'm not sure about that. Here are the supplies that you'll need, and there really aren't that many. And I am using today for this card Flirty Flamingo paper and basic white, but this piece that I'm going to watercolor on is actually shimmery white paper. I wish I had more of it because I love it for watercoloring. You can also use watercolor paper. I prefer the shimmery white paper. It does take the water well, but it is actually a little bit lighter and thinner than the watercolor paper. So you can either take a screenshot of these measurements, or as always, I will have a PDF with all of the measurements and supplies posted on my blog. There is a link to that PDF down below this video in the description box. So let's move these aside. You're going to have to excuse my glass mat for a bit with the ring light reflection. You do need some kind of a non-porous surface to do this process for the watercolor. Let me get my piece of shimmery white paper, and I am going to be using crushed curry and Flirty Flamingo inks for this. Once again, I've got so much stuff everywhere, I'm probably gonna start losing things. So let's start off by, I'm gonna grab my chair, and there's a dog underneath it, of course. And I am going to use 2 of the C as in cat, blocks, the smaller ones, to place my ink on here. You can use whatever you want. You could actually just use the corner of the pad if you wanted to place some ink on the glass mat. So let's open both of these pads. And I always end up with ink all over my fingers. So when you're placing your ink on here, I kind of want to think about where it's kind of going to end up on the card. So do you want Flirty Flamingo and crushed curry right in the middle? Do you want Flirty Flamingo centered? And not always does it come out the way that you think you're going to place it, but I'm going to try to put some Flirty Flamingo in the center of the card where the sentiment's going to be. So I'm just going to take that and put some of it right on this glass mat. And it is kind of a messy technique. So now I've got the crushed curry. That one I put over the Flirty Flamingo pretty good, so I'm not going to put that back into my ink pad without wiping it off first, but I think I have enough right now. So I'm just going to take a little spray bottle with some water in it, and I'm going to spritz these inks a little bit so they just start to move and blend. And then I'm going to take my piece of shimmery white paper and I'm going to lay it right down in that ink, and you will get ink on your fingers. And you can pick it up and see if you like it, or if you want to add more color somewhere, you can. Just turn your card over and dip it in there again. I think that looks pretty good. So this is pretty wet, so I am going to set it aside and let it dry. You could dry it with the heat tool, but I like to just let them sit and dry naturally. So let me set this piece aside, and I'm also going to move that. And I can't remember if I don't think I did. Normally, before I lay the shimmery white paper or the watercolor cardstock down on the ink, I also spritz it with the water. So you want everything pretty well damp. I wouldn't say you want it saturated, but you want it damp. That seemed to be okay without me spritzing it, but I got lucky. I've done it before and it comes out really, I don't know, stiff looking ink. That's probably not the right word, but so anyway, here is one that I've already done and let dry in that color. I am using my Ovals collection framelit set, and I used there's two larger, I'm just going to call them straight ovals. They're not the scalloped. The largest one I used for the colored cardstock layer that's behind the sentiment layer. The next smallest solid oval die I used to cut this piece out. And I will tell you that I did stamp the sentiment and the design in the VersaFine Clair ink. This is my favorite ink for sentiments. I wasn't thinking when I did this, and I was shocked to find out that when I am actually going to watercolor these a little bit, for some reason that ink is not bleeding on this paper when I color it in. I don't know why. Any other time I've tried to color with it on the basic white cardstock, this ink has bled. So I don't know what the deal is with this, but I'm going with it because I love this ink. It really is a vivid black. So now I'm going to take a watercolor painter, and I have the one with the finest tip on it. And I'm going to squeeze the pen a little bit to get the water flowing. I guess I need to get my ink pads back out here. And you can either squeeze this together and get a little circle of ink there, or you can use the blocks to get the ink, and you can take the ink off the block with your painter. So since this background is pretty well saturated with color already, let me get a piece of paper under here. That red is kind of bright. Paper pumpkin box. When I watercolor, I usually put a good little pool of water in here with the ink so it's not such a deep color. But like I said, since this is pretty vivid on the background, I'm not going to use a whole lot of water. So I'm just going to pick some of this ink up with my painter and start painting in over these little flower pieces. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You can go over it a second time if you want it to show up a little bit better, or if you want, darker highlights here and there. So let's get these other flowers on the right side. And I think watercoloring that's not perfect looks good to me. Like if you go out of the lines a little bit, I think that's fine. Okay, so that is all of the little pieces that we need for the flowers and the flirty flamingos. So we'll close that up. Got kind of a funny voice today. So now I'm going to take my paper towel and squeeze a little bit of water out and wipe that flirty flamingo ink off so that the pen is clear. The water is running clear now. I'm going to take my crushed curry, do the same thing, squeeze this together. I've not broken one yet. And I'm going to take my crushed curry and do all of these little leaves. So it doesn't take very long, and it's interesting that even though you're coloring the same color over the same color, it does still show up. Are you all watching the Olympics? I have watched quite a bit of it already, and I'm really enjoying it. Lots of interesting things going on and happening. One of the, I think it was an American horse in the dressage, somehow nicked his hind leg a little bit, and when he was in the ring, I think they noticed a little bit of blood on him or her, I don't remember. So they were disqualified from the competition, and I believe it was a team competition, so everybody was out. So that was kind of a bummer for all of them. Okay, so there we have everything colored. So we're done with our watercolor painter. We'll put it away. And that doesn't take very long to dry. So let's see. The next thing I do, and I've done it with, I'll show you all the different colors that I've done this in. I take the colors that I've used for the ink, and then I cut my pieces out just to see what I might like better. And for some people, this might be way too bold, but I really like it, and I think it's nice. So here's another way that that could be toned down a little bit. Instead of using the Flirty Flamingo for the card base and the layer behind the sentiment layer, you could switch those and then do the embossed layer in the ink color, and then just use basic white for the card base and the layer behind the sentiment. I tend to like the brighter one a little bit better. And by the way, for all of these cards that I'm going to show you, I have used the Distress Tile 3D embossing folder. So there's one option that we could use. The next one would be the crushed curry option. And I'm kind of like, whoa, that's bright, and it really reminds me of mustard when I do that. So I don't think that's what I want. And don't forget to try black. You've got a good amount of black ink on the card, so that's worth a try. And that's okay. I kind of like that, but I'm still liking the color. So I think I'm just going to go with the Flirty Flamingo again. What do you think? Lots of choices there. And it's fun to play with these colors, so you could do one of each if you wanted. So let's put our card together. It's not going to take very long. There's really not much to it. I'm going to take some green glue and put it on the back of my sentiment piece. The hardest part for me is getting, and I'm going to have to stand up, is getting things straight. I always think that I've got stuff lined up pretty well, and then once it's stuck on there and I step back and take a look at it, I'm like, whoa, that is really out of whack. But remember, it's handmade and it doesn't need to be perfect. So let's put a little bit of glue on the back of our embossed piece. And we will attach that to our card base, trying to get equal-ish margins all around it. Turn that over and give it a good press. And I'm also, while I'm here, not something I normally do on camera, but I'm trying to be better about it, I am going to put my 4 by 5 1/4 insert piece inside the card. So I'm just going to use my tape runner for that. And we'll stick that down inside the card. So now I'm going to close my glue up. I actually am going to pop this up on dimensionals. Excuse my reach. And I'm going to put big ones on the back of the sentiment piece. I know, it seems like a lot, doesn't it? And then this is how you end up with the covers all over your house. It's amazing where they end up. I didn't put any embellishments on this card. I didn't think it needed anything. You could sure add, you know, you could put like a little bow down at the bottom. You could put some pearls or gems or something on it, but I kind of just liked it plain. All right, let me stand up again and see if I can get my oval straight. Okay, and there is the card. So this technique you could use for an entire background piece on a card that you're going to, say, use die cuts or something with. I actually have a couple here that I did in, I think this one is Bermuda Bay and Summer Splash. I think these both are great oceany backgrounds. So these would be great with the sand dollar set. I can't remember the name of it. This one is Balmy Blue and Soft Succulent. And I did on this one, I did keep going back in and picking up the color. So it is kind of muddled, but I think it'll work for an oceany background. So let me show you some of the other ones that I did. This one is Azure Afternoon and Highland Heather. I did use fresh freesia cardstock for that one. This one is Pretty in Pink and Crushed Curry. I like that combination. That has Pretty in Pink cardstock. This one is like the one that we just did. It is Flirty Flamingo and Crushed Curry. Has a different sentiment. And I will tell you that this one I did prior to me re-inking both of these pads. So in person, you can really tell that this is a lot brighter. I don't know that I had ever re-inked these pads prior to that. This one is Flirty Flamingo and Melon Mambo. Kind of bright. And this one is Azure Afternoon and Summer Splash. I like those together. And then this one is Fresh Freesia and Summer Splash. I like that one too. I guess I like Summer Splash. So those are the cards. I hope that you'll give this technique a try. I think that I'm going to keep playing with it and do some other kinds of cards. So give it a try. Let me know what you think of it. It really is easy. You can get quite a few cards done. And I always do, you know, put my stamps in the Stamparatus. You can position the sentiment on one of the plates, get it put in place, and then you can put these pieces on that other plate. So you can just have your little assembly line and get your stamping done really quickly that way. So let me know what you think about these cards. I will be giving one away. All you have to do is leave a comment down below the video, and I will probably do a drawing in 3 or 4 weeks. So let me know what you think. Which one is your favorite color? Go through your inks and grab some of them that you don't really think go together and try this technique. You might be surprised what you come out with. And you don't have to just use 2 inks. You could use 3 inks. You could use 4 inks. Let me know. Let me know how it works for you. So If you're getting anything out of my videos, please hit the like button, give me the thumbs up, hearts would be wonderful. Share my video with your friends and family. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would love it if you would do so. I really do appreciate all of you, and I will see you next time. Bye.